With the release of EA's WRC Rally Simulator last year, more people might be dipping their toes into the insane art of driving very fast cars very fast down dirt roads. And one piece of hardware that can make that experience a little bit more immersive is a sequential shifter, which you'll find in a lot of these WRC cars. And so enters the Moza SGP Sequential Shifter. It might be a bit of a one-trick pony compared to some more expensive offerings from some other brands, but at the $130 price point, the quality that this delivers might be a sweet spot for a lot of sim racers. And I've been really enjoying slamming through the gears on this, so let's dive in and check it out. Hey everybody, I'm Jordan with 9 to 5 Toys. We're back checking out another sim racing device component. This time we have the brand new Moza Sequential Shifter. A quick note on availability, this was announced January 25th, and then they are already taking pre-orders on the website, once again for $130. Shipping is expected to be February 20th, so about a little bit under a month until these will actually start going out to customers. But judging by how busy the website has been on launch day, I would assume that's gonna be a pretty hot ticket item, so you might want to get your order in early if you're thinking about picking it up. So with that in mind, if you are in the market for a sequential shifter, it's a pretty niche product, and so you probably already know why you want it and what its benefits are for having it in a sim racing setup. And like I alluded to, there are some shifters from Fanatec and also from SimMagic that are a combination of H pattern and can be switched into a sequential mode with the flip of a button. So there are some more higher end offerings that are a little more universal and can be useful for different driving scenarios, but if you find yourself playing rally games or other games driving other types of cars where a sequential shifter gearbox is something that you really would like for more immersion, that's right where this Moza is going to fit in. And getting this out of the box, immersion is exactly where I would, place this product. It is an extremely beefy metal build that really I think would fit, in an actual race car. It's weighing a little over 3 pounds or just under 1.4 kilograms, so the whole thing has a very durable feel to it. And internally it's using Hall effect sensors so that, it should stand the test of time. Shift after shift, it should last for you. Moza claims that they've tested the durability of this and it should last for a long time. Of course, it's a brand new product, so we'll see how that actually, ends up performing in the long run, but once again, I've had pretty good luck with a lot of other Moza products, and the build quality on this just feels very substantial. And getting this actually out of the box and set up is extremely simple. It comes basically fully assembled. All you have to do is screw on the knob on top here. And as you can see in the picture, it's a little bit shorter here. That is the lowest point. I have it extended all the way up here. So it can go down to as low as 11 5/8 inches or all the way up to 15 1/8 inch. So like I mentioned, I have it all the way at the top here. This is where I have it perfectly set for me on the Next Level Racing GT Racer. I have the shifter handbrake mount raised up as high as I can go there, and then I have this raised up as high as it can go, and then it kind of feels like it sits directly to the right of my wheel when I am using it. Included in the box are a couple different ways to connect it. There are 2 different ports down here. One is a USB, and then it also has a data cable. And so USB, you can obviously plug directly into a PC or device. The data cable you can plug directly into a compatible wheelbase, a compatible Moza wheelbase. So they've been kind of redoing some of their wheelbases and adding more compatibility there with different device ports in the back. So on newer things like the R16 V2 that we're using here, you'll see that on the back there are lots of different ports for connecting all of your peripherals, and then that's just one connection that goes to your PC or a different platform if you're using a console or something like that. So I love to see that Moza's kind of thinking forward towards, future compatibility and making sure that this will work with their wheelbases that work across different platforms. And one note on compatibility, we are still waiting on the R3 for Xbox, unfortunately. Moza assures me they're still working on getting that official licensing from Microsoft, so hopefully we'll have some updates soon on that. On the bottom, there are a few different mounting holes for different options. You can see the pattern here. These are all threaded, and then there are also these just larger non-threaded holes for mounting in different things. There aren't a whole lot of mounting options for me on the GT Racer that I am using, but I did find a pattern that lined up well on here and works really well. I was able to get 3 screws in the base here, and it feels solid when I am slamming through those gears. Besides pushing the stick forward or back to shift up or down, there's also this lever here, which in my somewhat limited knowledge of sequential shifters, that's typically for going into reverse or even neutral. And then additionally, there are two mappable and also RGB controllable buttons here on the top. So a few more buttons, a little bit more functionality built into the shifter. And here we'll take a quick look at all the changes in the Moza Pit House app. You can turn this on to see what the different numbers are if you want to set those in your different racing sims. By default in here, pushing forward is going up a gear, pulling back is going down, but I like to have it opposite of that. So over here on the side, we have shift direction reversed. I click that. And then when I pull back, that goes up a gear. When I push forward, that goes down a gear. We can also pull the lever, which is 117 there. And you can also see the buttons for 115 and 116 also show up when you press those. Another cool thing over here is that you can individually change the RGB color of those lights if you want them to be something different. And you can also change the overall brightness. So personally, I like having them turned all the way up. I think it looks great, super bright, but if you aren't using them and it's distracting, you can also just completely turn those off. So while I haven't done a whole lot of rally racing in my sim racing career, I did highlight a little bit with one of Forza Horizon 5's expansions that was focused on rallying, but this has been just an absolute blast to use. You know, downloading EA's WRC and just ripping around off-road is both terrifying and a lot of fun at the same time. My only complaint with this shifter and using it in my setup for playing WRC and other games where I use this shifter is that it makes me wish I had a more robust cockpit, because the way that the shifter mount is mounted to the GT Racer, there is a little bit of flex in there. And so when you are, really slamming on the gears, which this thing can handle, there is a little bit of flex to the cockpit. But despite that, it's an incredibly fun and immersive experience, accelerating down a dirt road, slamming through gears as you're going up to top speed, then once again hitting the brakes, slamming back down to your low speed, grabbing the handbrake, whipping around a hairpin corner, and then getting back on the gas is a lot of fun. And it's definitely not a quiet shifting experience. It's kind of like a blue clicky keyboard switch, but it's bigger, it's entirely metal, and you just want to slam it as hard as you can. But for me, that just adds a very fun sim racing experience to the games that I've been playing. I've tried this out in some other titles too, and using it on wheels that have paddles behind the wheel. In a lot of other situations, the paddles are a little bit more efficient because your hand's already right there. You don't have to take it off to hit the shifter. But when your wheel is going crazy driving off-road in WRC, the paddles can be maybe a little bit harder to find, or if you're drifting, your hands are moving a little bit more. And so hopping over and finding that shifter to know right where it is to shift into the next gear has been just a lot of fun to use. We were using this live on stream the other night playing some Forza Motorsport, and some of the people in the chat were saying how it feels like a very satisfying experience, and it is, because you're grabbing this physical thing, slamming it, forward to downshift, pulling it back to upshift, and it's just a very fun, interactive experience. And the click you get, when you actually pull it back or push it forward is very satisfying. It's just all very visceral and a lot of fun. I feel like I've said fun like 30 times, but that really is kind of the best way to describe this. It's meant for being, immersed into that game that you're doing and, feeling like you're doing it a little bit more, which translates to a little bit more fun, and that's exactly what this delivers. Quick note on, if you want to see what rallying is all about and experience for yourself and see if it's something you're interested in trying out, EA's WRC does have a 5-hour trial if you are on EA Play, but that is also included in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. So if you are an Ultimate subscriber, you should be able to try out WRC, at least get a 5-hour trial, and see if you enjoy what it's doing and if it's something you want to explore a little bit more. And beyond, WRC and rallying in general, this type of shifter works in a lot of other cars and racing games as well. I mentioned I was using it in Forza Motorsport. Anytime you install a race transmission into one of your cars in Forza Motorsport, basically you're putting in a sequential gearbox. You can hear the transmission starts to whine a little bit more, which is actually, that's reminiscent of a sequential transmission. So once again, while the paddles, behind the wheel are easier to hit, if you want a different type of experience using this shifter, you can, slam through those gears. And even when you have it set to manual and clutch, if you have that race transmission, the sequential transmission, you don't have to use the clutch in Forza Motorsport. So that's how I've been enjoying playing recently. I have this set up, I have it set to manual and clutch. I have to use the clutch if I'm, stopping the car or when I spin out to restart, but otherwise you can just slam through gears with this shifter. Additionally, with some drift cars and Assetto Corsa, this can be a really fun experience to use as well. So talking about some of the competition, there are cheaper sequential gearboxes you can find on like Amazon, but typically they come from no-name brands you don't know anything about. They aren't going to be, something that can fit into an ecosystem that's constantly expanding like Moza. Or on the opposite side of the spectrum, you have those higher end products from like Fanatec and SimMagic, which are awesome because they're a little more universal, being able to swap between H pattern and sequential. But those are a lot more expensive, so if you are on a little bit more of a budget, but know exactly what you want with a sequential shifter, this really does seem to be a nice little sweet spot at $130. The build quality seems to be there, it could easily be a weapon instead of a actual sequential shifter, but at the same time, that price point isn't astronomical to me. So, while it might be something that's fairly specific for some sim racers, if it's something you've been actually thinking about picking up, this does seem like a really solid way to go. And with the variety of ports on here, you don't have to already be locked into the Moza ecosystem to, use this on a PC. If you just wanted to plug into a USB port on your computer instead of running through a Moza wheelbase, then, you're good to go with this. Speaking of niche products, Moza is constantly coming out with new things. Got a couple more things in to test from them, so make sure you are subscribed if you don't want to miss those, because I'm just blown away by how quickly Moza is releasing new products and expanding their ecosystem within the sim racing world. So once again, currently this is available for $130 for pre-order, just launched on January 25th. Orders are expected to ship on February 20th, so get in line, place a pre-order if it's something that you want to check out. And once again, if you want to see me using this live, tune into our live streams Wednesday evenings, usually around 8:15 Eastern, usually doing some sim racing. It's been a lot of Forza Motorsport lately, but I will have this set up and we'll be using it, so you can ask me any questions about it, check it out, see how it sounds and feels. All right, well, that's going to do it for our review of the Moza SGP Sequential Shifter. Let us know what you think about it down in the comments below. And if you're looking for some other videos to watch, I'll link to our review of the R16 wheelbase, as well as our most recent video. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so others can find it easier, and consider subscribing. This is Jordan with 9to5 Toys.